Thanks very much, guys. Game number 2 here, as we do have both of our players already in the game and good to go. My name's Kyle Aris here with Kaldor. How you doing, man?
We are good to go with game number 2 in our Terran versus Protoss final here at IEM in Katowice. Starting to the top right of the map, in red is our Protoss player with a 1-0 lead. It is LGIM's first.
Spawning down to the bottom left-hand corner here as our blue Terran. Currently 1 game down. Katowice, give it up for MVP Dream!
Dream had to play so many games against Protoss already, and this gave first, of course, an opportunity to look at these replays, to look at the VODs, watch those games live on stream, and analyze the play of his opponent, prepare a lot better. He has so much material that he can look at this point, and if you just watch this first map, on Antia Shipyard, of all maps, one of the best Terran players in this matchup, and I have to say that first is just playing such a solid game. At this point, he looks undefeatable. Yeah,
the reads on his opponent were fantastic there in game number 1. Will that carry over to game number 2 here on Cloud Kingdom? As we have Dream for now completing that wall off with his second supply depot. And, you know, first, he's looking good. He has the gateway on the way. He's got all of the basics in place here to carry him over onto later stages.
Yeah, first at this point, it really is in such a great spot. Will Dream be affected by an early loss? It's still a best of 5. He can come back into this match, but right now he has to find a solution to this big problem that's called first. The Protoss player from Korea has been playing so well throughout the entire tournament. It was an impressive run. Can Dream stop it at some point? Trying to hide that SCV, and he's actually able to pull that off.
And not too bad for him there, as first for now goes for a second assimilator, whilst we do not have him scouting out just yet, but we'll see that there's not really any way he can actually deny that. So that has been started. No Zealot even started yet just yet, and he does have 100 minerals to begin that if he wants to.
And Dream is now starting his expansion. He will so in just a few seconds. He has the SCV in position, just waiting for the minerals, and no gas for him just yet. There's the command center, whereas to the top right, before the Force Stalker is out, starting with the Stalker first here, skipping the Zealot. We now see first, and he will of course take down the SCV, make sure that there are no scouting information anymore for his opponent. Double gas for him. Chrono boosting, Cybernetics go 1 chrono boost at this point. Also chrono boost for the Stalker. Quite important quite important because he wants to have that Stalker out faster. And now look at this. This is really sneaky. Good old-fashioned engineering.
Yeah, and this is one of the reasons why for a lot of the tournament we've seen Protosses really not skip the initial Zealot. It's very useful for dealing with plays like this, but first actually going for that for one of the first times I've seen in this tournament, and he's stifled a little bit here.
This delays your expansion so much. The big problem is that Stalkers just deal so little damage to this engineering bait. Look how long it takes him to take this down. The expansion is really delayed at this point. This is why you want to have that one Zealot out, and look what he did there. He actually hit the second Stalker, didn't he? He just hugged the cliff and was trying to make sure that there is no information for Dream about Stalker number 2. We don't have a sentry here. Double Stalker at this point, and he's still trying to look at the left side of the map. This is going to be really interesting.
Meanwhile, we have a bunker going down here for Dream. He knows he wants to prepare for any kind of eventuality that his opponent is going to throw at him early
on. Brilliant. The Stalker in position to intercept those Marines. That's exactly what it was designed for. Sending it out over there without Dream knowing about it. Dream would have dodged the Stalker if he knew, and now suddenly his Marines are up against double Stalker, and with good micro, he can really damage those Marines. Great play so far by First.
Yeah, this is a fantastic play by him. He anticipated all of this. Dream went for it in game 1. It was completely shut down, and in game number 2 here, he does exactly the same thing. But that shouldn't have died.
Yeah, he loses the Stalker here, and he could really have saved it, but still, this is well worth it. This last one with 3 hit points. This was quite close. A bit of a gamble here for him. He didn't have to attack the Marine right away. He could have waited a little bit longer, up to the point where he has a few shields to spare.
Yep. But now we have a few more gateways going down here for First. So going on into that standard little build here of 3 gateways and 1 robo facility, sending the initial observer over there. A little bit of a look around.
Wow, 1 hit point left. This is the Chuck Norris Stalker. He never dies. is running away from 3 Marines, and this was just so close. But this beginning already is so awesome. For Dream, we have the block with the engineering bay. He realizes, well, you don't have a Zealot, so I can just block your expansion. Your Stalker will take an eternity to take it down. And then first moves out with a second Stalker. Doesn't go into any kind of sentry play. Saves that gas for now. Moves out. Makes sure that the vision range of the engineering bay is not enough to see him. And so he can intercept those Marines by Dream. Really great start into this game by both players.
For now, will Dream be able to hunt down this Observer? He's bringing his units back a little bit here to see if he can, but no, he's not going to continue with that. Missile turret is being placed as well, just so Dream can cover all of his bases here. And from that point on, you know, first, he has a lot of options, certainly in the form of that Colossus production as it starts.
Look how he's hunting the Observer. He really wants this Observer. He knows it's there, and he's just waiting for First to show it so he can scan and take it down. But First sees these units, and he knows he can't do anything right now, so he's just going for the whole position with a stop on the Observer, waits for now, will move it later. And at the same time, the Protoss opting for the longer game here, going into the double forge, having the first Colossus now on the production queue, so he can deal with Marine aggression. But this is just great play by both of them.
There was a point there where I almost think First was trying to bait out a scan on one of those Observers. He was hugging it so close to the edge of that of the main base that if he'd have scanned and those units would have tried to take it out, he would have just ran straight back into the main and kept it alive without out of range of the Marines.
And you know, talking about the Marines, they are now being equipped with double upgrades and also those double Marauders that he's building. He has 3 barracks at this point. Tech Lab is building the concussive shells and also the combat shield. Stim is already done, and this is quite the force that we have for Dream on the map. 36 army supply against 24 at this point. So he has a fair amount of units. But these Observers for First are in the perfect positions to scout everything that's going on, and he's even sending in another probe after placing a pylon to the bottom right that enables him to harass a potential third.
Sending a probe out as well to claim that watchtower to see exactly what's going on. He sees the medevacs and a few units moving out to the middle of the map. This allows him to position himself very, very nicely to actually deal with that kind of play. But Dream, actually, he might have other ideas now that he does have that medevac potential. He might go for a double prong drop. He might just go for a push at the front whilst going for a drop at the back. All of these things are in Dream's arsenal, and they're very, very potent.
Yeah, Dream has combat shield done. He's going into +1 armor, adding the second engineering bay and the armory right away to have the double upgrades. Did he actually scout the double forge? No, he didn't, so he doesn't know about it. He's going for the upgrades anyway. Upgrade heavy play, third base on the way. Bottom right, this pylon could be a problem. Hasn't been spotted by Dream. Will be used for Zealot warp-ins later on, most likely. And the entire time we are First now going into range. Range for the Colossi, adding his Twilight counts as well. Of course he wants to have a third base here. He wants to have a third. He's still producing probes at this point, but he has to deal with the potential drops first. And there's Dream's army with a drop in the main base.
That's pretty impressive there. He's going to be able to do a lot of damage to those Stalker counts. The one advantageous position here for First is the fact that he could bring the Colossus back up the cliff here to deal with this as well, and he should be able to clean this up with the Colossi. Meanwhile, actually, I think he's going to push it up front here as well. Force fields go down really, really nicely done by First to stifle that push.
Wow, these multi-prong attacks, just look how many harvesters First is currently losing. Dream is everywhere, attacking the natural, attacking the main base, and First has to split his army. This is so difficult to deal with as a Protoss player when your opponent moves in with a double drop, tries to go into your natural as well, and with Stim there's always the danger of the Terran player stimming in, bam, all this damage potential, taking down the Nexus and moving back. These hit and run attacks can be deadly, and in this game already, Dream taking down 20 probes.
It was always going to occur. It was just a question of when and where, as Dream really taking advantage of First there with the 2-1 on the way in terms of those upgrades. First, meanwhile, back at home, he's going for Blink. He's continuing to produce those probes. He's 10 down right now, so he needs to recuperate those losses and just try and bring it back against Dream.
Blink has been started. +2/+2 are also. He starts the double upgrades. He's trying to sit tight on these bases now, whereas Dream has now a huge advantage with a third base with a lot more harvesters. It's 62 against 50. The army, on the other hand, is still decent for First. 67 against 50 army supply. First has a decent amount of units here, but his big problem really is that Dream is not falling too far behind in the upgrade count. He's going for the +2 attack upgrade already. We have him with additional production now being built, and those Zealot run bys, they didn't really do a lot. First is warping units in at the bottom right, but as you can already see, there is a bunker being built, there are a few supply depots to save the bunker, and there's not a lot that First can do. Dream doesn't leave him openings.
Yeah, and this is the scary thing about the Korean Terrans in the form of people like Dream and Yoda. Once they actually establish a little bit of a worker lead, they can then produce this macro so heavily to the point where, you know, he's 30 supply ahead right now across the board. That is a difficult thing for First to actually deal with here, and it's a difficult thing for him to recuperate against. A Dream can easily end up pushing when he's at max supply, and First is going to have a hard time at holding it.
And Dream is still producing those Vikings. He has 4 Vikings on the production queue right now. We have him with a double starport build and those reactors. So at this point, First is really investing into Colossi and heavily. And Dream here has the answer. +1 attack upgrade is being researched for the Vikings, which will make them even stronger and more effective against the Colossi. Yes, he's going into Templar Archive, but still, this composition for Dream is really good. And First still doesn't have a third base.
Yeah, this is going to be difficult for him. He needs that third base. If he does not get it, well, it's going to be difficult.
I'm actually not quite sure if he really wants to get it, because he is not, well, he kind of has to, but he's not building any probes anymore. He's at 49 harvesters, so that's perfect for saturating 2 bases. He's trying to drop it, but he has to cancel it right away. There is just too much map presence for Dream.
Oh, those Vikings getting a really good position on those Colossi, doing a lot of damage to them very, very quickly. He needs perfect force fields to actually stop this bio coming through, and indeed he gets quite a few of them. There's a few holes, but for the most part, he should be able to stop this bio from advancing.
He stops the bio from advancing, and he kills a lot of Vikings. So Dream losing a lot of anti-air. But still, at the end of the day, he once again delayed the third base for First, and sooner or later, First will be thirsty for money.
Yeah, it's that constrictive style that Dream's constantly been exhibiting throughout this tournament that First is having a really hard time battling against. And now, with Dream opening up extra attack paths and First army way out of position, we might see Dream take that into full exploitation.
Yeah, he's going up, he's stimming, he's going up, and he has a perfect position between the natural and his opponent's army now. And here he's just moving in with the Vikings, taking down those Colossi. Still on the ramp, but there's no storm or anything. Another Colossus is trying to do his best, but First is dropping in supply. Dream is chasing him down. The Terran player is about to deliver the second loss in this tournament to his Protoss opponent.
Very few units left here for First. He's trying to micro back as best he can do with those Colossus as well, but there's just too much overpowering fire here for Dream, doubling his opponent's supply right now, constantly pushing in. The last Colossus go down.
Boom!
GG!
Dream is tying the series up. First, second map loss in the tournament. This is exactly what we are hoping for. Back to back, we have those 2 players delivering great matches, and this time it is Dream who wins the map, the Terran player against the seemingly unbeatable Protoss.
1-1, I'm loving it. That means we get to see more games from this grand final as our players looking, well, Dream not looking too bad for himself here, and yeah, so First looking a little bit agitated.
Dream just won this map, but he is looking intently at his monitor. He knows exactly that this is not going to be a walk in the park. This is going to be so difficult for him to pull off. He has made the first step, but he needs 2 more maps if he wants to claim victory in the first major tournament in 2013. Thinking about the next map, his next strategy. And before we go into game number 3, we are throwing it back to the analysis desk with Jared, Todd, and QXC to talk about the last game on Cloud Kingdom.
First suffers his first loss in 18 games, ends the streak. Dream crushed his dreams, ties the series up 1-1. Oh my god.
I think the computer felt my frustration and just crashed while watching this game.
As Protoss was losing more and more, Todd was channeling his rage into the computer and it just exploded.
And it exploded. So unfortunately we don't have a replay.
No, we don't. But we could definitely talk about the game. I really like Dream's choice of strategy here. His play felt a lot cleaner, more like what we saw from him against Parting in this game. I felt like his fast third command center transitioned into more bio, double upgrades, and then he just does not let First take a third base and puts him in this very awkward position. Eventually the supply gap is so huge that he is able to attack and kill those Colossus and go on.
But it was really the big drop in the main.
Oh, yeah.
That killed first. I felt after that, basically Dream was on 3 bases. He had over 50 SCVs and first had like 40 something probes. So in this situation, you're just going to be so far behind as a Protoss. I feel it's almost impossible to come back unless you all in and win in that moment. The problem is the Terran, he will always have 1 or 2 medivac filled with a couple units flying around your base. As soon as you leave it, he's basically going to end your economy immediately. Then there is the time that you take to reach his base. He can pull SCVs. He knows he just has to defend it a lot of the time. He will be able to. So first was in such a bad position after that big drop in his main that I think he just could not recover from there. It went wrong before that.
Dream looked angry. He was everywhere at once. His face looked furious. He wanted to show everyone that he is not going to get swept out of this, and First is not going to end this tournament. First's only loss was his very first game of the tournament. That's unbelievable.
Up until this point,
A 17-game streak against players of this caliber doesn't happen very often. Probably not going to see it again for a long time. The players are in the game. The game's not loading yet. The next map is Cloud Kingdom, right? No?
We just played Cloud Kingdom.
Sorry, Entombed Valley.
Yeah.
That would be Dream's pick again, right?
And you know what? First, he went for the very quick Robo and then Robo Bay. I think he was trying to make sure he can punish a 3rd command center on Cloud Kingdom. And since Entombed is one of the best maps for that build, we might see him do that again, or at least he will have it in the back of his mind that there might be a 3rd command center here.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to see in a minute. The casters are ready. The game is loading. The fans are excited. Let's see what happens.